Okay, team. So let's go over the weekly performance structure. This is your performance OS, your operational system, or how you approach a week in a more systematic and a bit more deliberate or smart on how you actually design your week for best results or best performance. So here it is, the actual weekly training structure. In here, you're going to have also a link so you can download a template. You could also download a PDF so that you can print it out, you can write on it, whatever you want. This is customizable. And in the following videos, you're going to see how I'm going to go a lot more in depth on this weekly training structure and how I approach it, how I use it, some case studies, so you can actually design your own as a player, or maybe if you're a coach, you want to use this as a point of reference for it. That's fine with me. So what you see in here is just like a blank template, a blank canvas. All right. So from here, you can actually customize the days. You can do it in Spanish or any other language that you want. Maybe it's you got one match a week, maybe two or three, and you're gonna see how I use these different elements. You can change them up if you want. I got a little legend right here. A pitch right here means that's a team training session. A little soccer guy or football guy, little footballer in here. It's technical skills, your match day, so on and so forth. So I'll explain all this, what they mean, and all that. All right, so you don't get all overwhelmed right now. It's not very difficult, guys. Not difficult at all. Once you get it, you'll understand how to actually get to match day at your best. All right, not tired, just at your best. All right, so here's what we got. All right, so as you can see, I'm just gonna go over real quick, just different elements that I got in here. So you can see the colors in here. I'm gonna explain what they mean. I'm gonna do a deep dive on what these colors mean. And the reason that I made it this way is to make it so simple that just anybody can understand it. Sometimes we get so stuck on just very sophisticated and technical terminology that we kind of get bombarded with all these different things that we don't understand. So I try to make it so easy so that people can understand without a big background on sports science, sports performance, or anything like that. So leave that to us, the professionals. But in here, it's just a very simplistic way so that you can execute it. All right. So, all right. You can see in here, if you've never seen this terminology, that's fine. You'll understand it a little bit. So this is your match. This is for a week based out of just one match. All right. So this is a Saturday. It's match day. That's what this means. And match day -1 means that it's 24 hours before a match. Match day +1, it's 24 hours post match. Match day -2, 48 hours, so on and so forth. Very simple, just the technical limbo or jargon that we use. All right, so we got different emojis. Like I told you, just you got a very simple legend in here that tells you what this all means, and it shows you also kind of like the process or the hierarchy of importance of on how you can apply certain types of, I guess, sections to your training. And I'll explain that a little bit further as we move along. All right. So what do these little dots mean with colors? They're color coded. So they mean different things. And they're designed this way so you can understand that there's different themes to different types of sessions. And it doesn't matter if you're doing 2 training sessions a week, 3 training sessions a week, 6, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Maybe you do have your team training. You don't have a lot of control over it, but you can control certain aspects of your training so that you can know what is it that you can do, what's appropriate to do on certain particular days. Now, you might be doing some great things, but not appropriate for that particular day of the week, which is like, I don't know, it could be like a match day -1, a match day +3, or whatever. There's certain things that are a lot more favorable for you to do on certain particular days and at different types of stimuli or exercises to that particular session or a themed session. So let's move on. Good. So a red color day, that is a high intensity and high volume type of day. And I'll explain as we move along what is it, what does a red day themed session looks like? What are the type of exercises that we can do? What kind of components make up a red day? A green day means a high intensity day with low volume. That is a very high explosive type of exercise for a very short period of time. And then we got a yellow day, which is a low intensity plus a high volume day, low intensity but high duration. And then we got a blue day, which is a low intensity and a low volume day. Now, as you can see, these types of days are more designed. Yes, you can see the high intensity, more for development type of drills. And these are more oriented towards recovery type of days. Now, we based our training methodology based out of high days and low days. And I'll explain a little bit further on what that means and what that looks like. So just bear with me right now. I know for some of you guys, it might be a lot of information, but it should make sense. Trust me. So this is how or what we do on a red day. For example, a red day is the heaviest day of the week. And you take that opportunity to build maximum strength, power, and top end speed while your body is still fresh enough to handle it. So think of this type of training session as the peak of the week type of session. Usually it's that training session that is the furthest away from your next match, or not furthest away, but at least 72 hours previous to your next match. And the reason for that is that, let's say, for example, you got a match on a Saturday. Well, on a Wednesday, now you got this high intensity, high volume. What that looks like for us as a performance coach or a fitness coach working in a high type of competitive environment, that's my high workload day. That will be like a game simulation or a scrimmage, kind of like a game simulation, the session that is closest to what a game like situation. Okay. And that same intensity and volume will leave you obviously tired for the next few days. If that is so, then you work the furthest away, or at least 3 days before your next match, because you don't want to be fatigued when you get to match day. So Wednesday, that's the peak of the week. And then you got Thursday, and then you got Friday, and then you got Saturday, your match. That's when we want you fresh. On a Thursday, you might slow it down a little bit, bring down a notch the intensity, maybe not that volume as much, but we want to bring down the intensity. That will be a yellow. It's not set in stone, but it just depends on your situation. But that's how it looks like. What kind of exercises, or what are the type of stimulus that you will see on this? Heavy lifts, like I said, big compound exercise to develop raw strength. They could be squats, deadlifts, trap bar deadlifts, like all kinds of different like high muscle activation or highest tension type of exercises. This is where you apply them. Max velocity drills, sprinting at full speed to sharpen top speed. Remember that we at least every week we have to have close to 90 to 95% of our 100% or max velocity, 90 to 95% of that. We need to hit those peaks at least for preventative type of measures as well. This is how you're going to prevent injuries. So because it's a very high intensity and a very high hit on your nervous system, you'll need plenty of time to recover in between. But you do it 72 hours preferably, or sometimes we can do it 48 hours previous to our match day. And then you do core training in there. You can add that to it, stability for power transfer. What that looks like on the field is long-sided type of games, which is a scrimmage, full pitch games to apply strength and power under real match demands. This is not a very comprehensive type of list, but it's just kind of like the biggest blocks of what you would do on that particular themed color day. A green day, that's where you train your explosiveness and speed without doing too much volume. Think of today as your power boost day. You go hard and fast, but not for long. Now, you can have two different types of sessions within the week, just like that. So for example, green day, just before a red day session. So let's say, for example, again, going back to our match day on Saturday, hypothetically speaking, on Wednesday, you will do the red day. which is the peak of the week type of stimuli. And then a day before, you'll do something quick, powerful, and explosive. And I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. I'll explain that as we move along. Now, also a green day. You will use that right before a match, right before the day of the match. This will help you prime the nervous system to just be sharp. So these are plyometric exercises like jumps, bounds to build elastic power, acceleration drills. Acceleration drills is different than max velocity type of drills. Acceleration type of drills, but they're just shorter distances. They don't require a big hit to our nervous system per se. So acceleration drills, this is where you practice your first step so you explode past defenders. This is where you can do also short-sighted games or small-sighted games, small field games with quick burst and high intensity. This is where you have the opportunity to apply this type of exercises to your training week. A yellow day, you focus a lot more on recovery, building your base, return to recovery, and focus. Mobility, light work, light gym work, activation drills that help you restore freshness while you are reinforcing the strength base. Now, it doesn't mean that if you are on a recovery type of day, you don't work. Yes, you do have an active recovery type of training session, but that will be a blue day is a lot lighter than that, which is low intensity and low volume, but a yellow day, low intensity, higher volume. In here, you'll use this type of session to do, and I'll show you on the weekly structure how we can play around with those elements. But a yellow type of session, it'll help you to recover a lot faster, like we said, but you will work some lower body type of exercises, but that are not taxing to your nervous system. Maybe higher rep on the higher rep ranges, not too intense, but they will help you to prevent injuries in certain segments. Let's say, for example, I mean your adductors, your hamstrings, your quads, whatever it is, that will help you to touch up on that and just maintain those segments. Mobility work, upper body in light leg training, lighter weights, more reps, nothing heavy, core training, medium-sided games, some cardio work in there, or some energy system development work with, again, low intensity and higher volume. Blue day will be more of a recharge physically and mentally. A blue day can also be just like a complete day off. So you can start, so you're ready to start again strong. So let's say, for example, you have a match again on a Saturday, maybe a Sunday, that will be your day off or your blue day, or it could be an active recovery type of day, which is a low intensity and low volume type of day. You can go out for a walk, a jog, some light mobility work, some core work, something like to restore whatever residual you got in there due to the demands of the competitive environment. So a blue day, again, full rest or active recovery, core and light upper body work. You can do in here like a little reflection or your monthly review or your weekly review. Think about how you felt during the match and what you can improve. So yes, on the next video, we're going to go over how that looks like with your weekly structure.